Teresa Matic with the Investing News Network. Here with me today is Brent Cook from Exploration Insights. Brent, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Great. So, two companies that you talk about quite a bit are Mariana Resources and Mirasol Resources. So I'm wondering, you're a picky guy, what issues do you see with Hot Maden and with Mirasol's flagship project?
Mariana, they've made an amazing discovery with their partner, Turkish partner in Turkey. I was there just 2 months ago now, I guess. It's a great deposit. It's a great discovery. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing with the deposit. The company itself has over 700 million shares out and is listed on the AIM, over in London. And for those of us in North America trying to buy and sell it, it is it's a clip joint. The brokerage firms over there just make it really difficult. So that's the issue with it. And they're going to have to raise additional money here, probably the end of the summer, because they're going to become 30% funding partner with their partner Lydian, who's got a lot of money and will be spending a lot of money drilling this thing off. But I think it's a very interesting deposit, a very good deposit.
Okay. Well, I did talk to Glenn. He's going to make it easier, he told me. So we'll look forward to that.
Good.
And what about Mirasol's flagship project?
Mirasol, flagship project, what we call a high sulfidation epithermal system. They're right at the top of a volcano, sort of, that's what it is. And so the alteration and stuff we're seeing there, the changes in the rock and the geochemistry are indicative of a gold system at depth. So their partner, Yamana, is spending $2 million this year, and they'll be drilling at depth to see if either there's gold there or there's not gold there. The indications so far are really good, but I suppose that's the problem, in that there might not be any, or it might not be good enough, and those are the odds. But the advantage Mirasol's got is this: they're not spending the money, Yamana is, and if Yamana likes what they see, they're carried all the way to a feasibility and retain 30%. So there's no cost to them. So I like that model, particularly right now in these times.
Yeah, of course. And speaking of these times, what is one stock that you did not make the right pick on in the last year? Right call on, I should say.
Well, certainly everything I didn't buy was a good idea.
Okay.
A bad idea. It hasn't been that bad. I mean, our portfolio this year is down 3%. I know, actually, that's 3% over the past 4 years. Okay. We're down. We've certainly had some losses. I think we held on to the prospect generators for a long time, so we're, Riverside, Lara, and Eurasian have gone down quite a bit. And if I could go back in time, I would have sold them, knowing what was going to happen. But right now, I think I'm almost to the stage where it's really too late to sell those, provided they've got the cash to continue and the business model's intact. So it's too late to really sell good companies. And it's probably too late to sell bad ones because there's nobody who wants them.
Oh, no.
But we don't own any bad ones.
Of course not. And on that note, what is your top pick in the junior resource sector right now?
Well, here at the show, I talked on my main presentation, I mentioned Reservoir Minerals. We've got a fantastic discovery in Serbia in which their partner Freeport has got to bring it to a bankable feasibility to earn 70%. That could cost over $100 million. So that's no money they've got to spend to get there. And I also mentioned Mirasol, which I like their business model, I like the joint ventures, I like grassroots exploration. That's what they're doing.
Great. And on the junior resource sector as well, the last time we spoke, you predicted a sort of gradual capitulation in the gold stocks. Have you started to see that yet?
At the time I was seeing it, and I'm seeing it for sure. I don't think we're going to see an event where you say, oh, this is capitulation, this is definitely it. I think what we're going to see is just people, investors, falling by the wayside. I mean, I envision it as we're walking across the salt flats in July and people are just dying off slowly, and eventually that's going to stop and we're going to get to the other side and it's going to get a bit greener. But I don't think it's going to be an event.
Makes sense. And speaking of downturns, you also put out a piece called "What Was It Like, Dad?" on your website, and that's gotten a lot of good feedback from people. Could you give a few highlights?
Yeah, it was an interesting article. One of my subscribers, a younger guy who's only been there since 2005, and I was experiencing a bear market, said, well, what was it like 97 to 2000, 2001? That would make a great article. So I wrote a series, 2 parts, called "What Was It Like, Dad?" And I go through what I saw during that bust, what it felt like, the characteristics of it, and part 2 is like, where are we now? And what am I seeing, and what's it going to look like coming out of it? And it's certainly, I think it's good articles, and it's free, available on my website. You just go there and you can see it, download it, read it. I think it's a good series, and it's free.
Great. And one final question for you. Your main thesis is kind of that gold supply is not going to be enough to meet demand in the next 10 years or so. Is there anything that could turn that argument around? Any way that demand could sort of drop, or people could get metals in another way, substitution, anything like that?
Yeah, that's sort of my thesis. I mean, I think we're seeing peak gold production because we've seen peak discovery. And what my real thesis is more that the demand for new deposits, supply is not going to meet that demand. So regardless of what the gold price does or the copper price does over the short term, if it's taking us now 10 to 20 years to find, develop, and put a project in production, we don't have enough new deposits to replace what we're mining right now. So assuming that's right, and I think it is, all I'm doing, and I think the smartest thing to do right now, especially at this time when there's so much value out there, not necessarily value, but there's so many things, companies that have either good projects, good people, the cash to do things, you want to start accumulating those because they're going to supply the deposits that the majors are going to have to buy in the coming years, and to buy it a lot more than what they're selling for now. So that's really my thesis.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
It does. Thank you for joining me, Brent.
Glad to.
I'm Teresa Matic with the Investing News Network.